right, this is a lesson in Unit 2. It's a lesson I am titling 1B because it's basically the second part of the first day, the first lesson that I would do. I would expect that you should be doing this lesson right after you talked about triangle sum and did some exercises. The thing with vertical angles is X marks the spot. So if I take two line segments or two rays or two lines and I crisscross them, then I'm going to actually have created 4 different angles. I'm going to have an angle created on top. I'm going to have an angle created on the bottom. It just so happens that when these two lines cross, the top angle and the bottom angle are the same measure. And also, by consequence, the angles on the other side, and I'll use 2 marks for these because I used 1 mark for the others, those angles are also the same. If I made my crosses a little bit more dramatic, it might be easier to see. This angle that's created on top of the X, okay, that's a large angle. That's a wide angle. You might even use the vocabulary word obtuse for that angle. And then if you look at the angle underneath, it's also a large angle, an obtuse angle. The angle created on the other side is much smaller, and it looks like it's less than 90, so we would call those an acute angles or acute angles. So opposite sides of an X are equal. That's pretty much vertical angles in a nutshell. Opposite sides of the X from one another are equal. Okay, we're using our notation. M stands for measure. That's the single symbol for angle. So the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. Okay, measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4. So these should be fairly straightforward lesson. So it's pretty easy. And here's a hint. It says it's impossible to draw a diagram without vertical angles looking equal. So for vertical angles, pretty much if they look like they're equal, guess what? They are. All right. So let's take a look at some. I hope that, this is pretty easy to see. If the big angle across the top of the X, right, it's 138. The big angle underneath the X. Okay, it's not angles that touch. It's angles that are across from it. It's like one's above and one's below. Okay, opposite sides of an X. So X would be 138. What would X be here? 75. All right. What do I do when they start leaving out? And of course, there's not that much I need to do with you. I think number 1 and 2 are pretty straightforward. You're going to get these really easy. Do you remember what this mark means? Hopefully he remembers that that is a 90-degree perfect right angle. So that corner mark is the mark for a right angle. All right. Again, I'm going to let you finish those. When you get to some of the other problems that have X's, you are going to have to set up and solve an equation. So still, I'm looking for opposite sides of the X. The angle up here is marked X plus 45. So it's not just straightforward X, it says X plus 45. The angle under here is 2X minus 19. Now, I know you actually have a solution. I'm just going to walk you through it. We're going to take the X plus 45 angle, set it equal to the 2X minus 19 angle. And just to review what you would have done from Math 1, anytime you see a value with an X, okay, I want to try to get all my X's on one side and everything that doesn't have an X on the other. So I kind of highlighted just to refresh a little bit. This should be stuff that hopefully comes back. I'm going to take this X over here. So I want to move the X's over there. So I'm going to subtract X from both sides. All right. If I do that, I'm going to have 1X. Okay. And this X would be gone. And since I took my X's to the right, I need to bring the numbers to the left. So, okay, numbers on one side, X terms on the other. So in this case, I would have to add 19 to both sides. And when you add 19 to both sides, sure enough, you get 64. Okay. They have the wrong sign right there. Okay. That does say subtract. So the answer is 64 equals X. Okay, they do have a wrong sign. They have plus 19. It should be subtract 19. So let's get rid of that just to refresh. So there are only a few selected exercises because I don't think you need a lot of just, go, go, go on these. But I do think it's just helpful to have a quick refresher on setting up recognizing your vertical angles, and solving equations with x's on both sides and numbers on both sides. Okay, good luck.